Well, it's very good to have you back. It's still good morning, Anambra, and we're really having great fun in the studios this morning. Well, we're going to be talking about something also very burning. It's a burning issue affecting the country, the citizens, and of course, as election draws nearer, we want to be able to curb this situation. Now we're talking about tackling the menace of fake news. You will agree with me that all over the social media, even on TV, on radio, you get to hear most of this news. And how do you know this news are fake? How do you know you're listening and hearing the right things? Well, this and more we'll be talking on the show this morning.
All right, and with us in the studio this morning to talk about tackling menace of fake news is Professor Pascal Onyi Ogono, former Dean of Law of the Ojukwu University, Chukwemeka Ojukwu University. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, we're talking about fake news. I know news is the account of an event, not event. That's a factual account of an event. But then my question is, when can one say that this news is fake, or what are the characteristics that will describe a news as a fake news?
Thank you for having me here. First, I think it might be proper to dissect fake news into proper perspectives. Fake, as we all know, is something not real, is something false, is something pretentious, is something that is not proper, not what it should be. That's fake. And the news, of course, is a piece of information being disseminated to the society or to general public. So when you put both together, it gives you fake news. And fake news, as we know, is a very wrong one for any society. No society thrives well with fake news. Fake news is news that is not real, news that is not proper, news that is not original, news that is fake, news that is not emanating from the right channel, news that is meant to deceive, news that is meant to push across what is not factual. That's fake news.
Right now in Nigeria today, from the scale of 1 to 100, how would you rate the spread of fake news, especially during this electioneering period?
One might start by looking at social media generally. 80%, I must tell you, because an average Nigerian does not have time to read anymore, and therefore would want to listen to news, particularly fake news, because they spread faster, and people are prepared to jump into it to be able to make it seem as though they know what is trending, and therefore they come up with all kinds of news, whether factual or not. They just push it out to make an impact and misinform the society.
Okay, let me ask you this question. What do you think makes a good choice for a fake news? Because a whole lot of, there are situations where people tend to say something or bring something out, and a whole lot of people also tend to believe it. What are the kind of topics you think make good for fake news? That when people read it, they tend to believe it's true when it's not.
Well, anything that has to do with politics, anything that has to do with terrorism, for instance, any news that is trending, okay, people tend to add flavor to it, or tend to push out the negative aspect of it to make the society believe that they know what they're talking about, when actually, they are spreading rumors and what is not just factual.
Knowing the effects, that sometimes the effects of fake news can be devastating. I really wonder, why will someone just sit down and decide to spread this kind of news out? Why will someone decide to malign another person or make the person bad in the faces of other people in the society just because he wants to spread fake news?
Yeah, because the individual obviously is aiming at maligning, like you said, maligning the character of another. If it's coming, it could come from a political party. It could come from a religious organization against another religion. It could come from individuals. It could come from pressure groups. Whatever it is. What is important is that the news the individual is circulating is wrong. Okay? And the motive behind fake news is just to make people believe that yes, it is true, which in actual fact is not.
Okay,
yes.
Let's see this. Like we've always talked about fake news, and fake news that kind of look like true, and people tend to believe it's true. Now, because this is a big challenge, the election is coming up. We know what the social media do, like you rightly said. False stories and false news everywhere. Now, my question is, what are the things you think people can do to judge whether what they have seen or read is true?
Well, it depends on the particular individual. You see, those who take fake news hook, line, and sinker are illiterates. Okay? But I would go ahead just to suggest that for you to know whether fake news is fake or whether news is actually fake, you need to be able to sit and ask questions, double check, research into it, and ask yourself questions. Can this be true?
Because you actually said that the average Nigerians find it very difficult to read these days.
Yes.
So where would the time of researching and double checking, where will it come from?
Yeah, that's right. Because we know that fake news is out there.
Yeah.
Okay? It's advisable that whatever news you hear, do not take it hook, line, and sinker. Okay? First of all, try to digest it. Try to make concerted efforts to read meaning into it, to know where such news is coming from, to imagine what is this news coming out to achieve, that sort of thing. So that way but you see, our level of illiteracy, make this fake news circulate very much. And that's why people get into circulating fake news, because they know that majority of our society are illiterates, and therefore they would grab whatever comes out of the social media.
All right, well, we're actually having fun in the studios, like I said, and we're also trying to find out how we can tackle the menace of fake news, because it is huge, not just because of the electioneering process or time, but it's something that is with us, and we have to find a way of curbing this menace. We'll be going for a short break. Of course, a lot of people are in the streets, and they want to also share their opinions as regarding to what we're discussing this morning. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The essence of news is all about information. The purpose of information is either to transform or to deform. The people that have this intention of watching out fake news have the intention of really deceiving and deforming people. No, it's not supposed to be so. You have a responsibility to make your own research before you take your position on any news that comes your way.
Giving fake news is not good. Whatever you have to say, you have to be very sure of what you want to say. It affects people in so many ways. And it doesn't mean that now you come and tell people that Ebola is now on the air. Why there is no Ebola on the air? You ask us to use salt and bath, to drink salt. Then people will now go and start taking salt, which know that salt is not good in the body. It will be affecting people. And like that time, so many people died because of salt. So fake news is not good.
Cannot be far-fetched the reasons why fake news can be what it is to people. What it can, encourage people to being, what it can encourage people to doing, and what it can lead people to in the end. It's fake news, and it can, in a way, betray people's loyalty.
It misleads the people. Instead of the people to think rightly, they will be thinking wrongly. It contributes to character assassination. Fake news should in any way be discouraged.
Everything about fake news happens to be negative. It brings about negative reactions from the people, because when you spread fake news, the people get everything wrong, and now when they get the things wrong, they send out, they react negatively. So virtually there's nothing positive about fake news.
All right, good to have you back. We're back from the streets where a lot of people actually said what they feel about fake news and how to curb it. Now, this is personal. This question right now from me to you is personal. Have you ever been tricked into believing a fake news? If yes is the answer, how did you go about finding out it was fake?
Well, for fear. No, for fear of being immodest. I mean, at my level, I do not think I want to ever want to be tricked into fake news. The reason is knowing full well what's trending, I would always want to research into whatever news I hear, and I don't want to believe it just the way it has come, knowing full well what's going on in our society.
Of course, you will do your research and all that. All right, we've noticed that the major means or platform used by people to peddle fake news is through the new media, otherwise known as social media. And we have millions and millions of people using the social media. Yeah, and if you ask me, it will be difficult to curb the spread of fake news. But then we really need to do that. How do we go about it?
How do we go about
curbing the spread of fake news on the social media?
Well, first and foremost, I think we have to fall back on government to ensure that more people are properly educated, because and then more people have jobs, because the bane of corruption and fake news producers is as a result of joblessness of youths. Because when a youth is fully engaged, he will not have time to produce fake news and spread same. So I would fall back on government to rearrange the priority to ensure that more people are educated. I know that some states have this policy on education that if kids, young people are found hawking in the streets during school hours, the parents are, going for it and prosecuted.
Let's come back now. We're still talking about tackling menace of fake news in Nigeria. Now, looking at Nigeria as a country and the issue of fake news, how do you think the issue of spreading fake news has affected the citizens of Nigeria, and how well do you think we the citizens can fight back the effect of fake news on us and how we can fight back?
Yes, it's obvious. That's where you see religious intolerance, because fake news comes from one religion out there to destroy the other religion. Political parties will come with fake news to malign the integrity and pedigree of the other political parties. Individuals also come up with fake news to misconstrue the impression people have on the particular individual. So it is really, like I said, fake news is not the best thing that can happen to any society. Okay, it brings about distrust. It brings about disorderliness, bad governance, and and so on and so forth. All the.
Do you really think there should be a punishment for people who spread this fake news if they are caught?
The question will be, how will you catch them?
That's right. No, they are producers of fake news, no doubt. Okay? Now, what you want to, you have to go to the source. Because, I mean, like on social media, WhatsApp, for instance, okay? If I get any piece of news on my WhatsApp page, okay, if I do not dissect it well to ensure that this is real news, okay, I may be in a hurry to, circulate,
yes.
okay? And while you're circulating it, you are not actually the producer of it, okay? But you have now helped in making it go round. So, coming back to, for the arms of the law to fall on me and leaving the culprits, the main culprits, which are the producers of such fake news, is
Which brings me to the question, how can we individuals, for example, you said you saw something on your WhatsApp page and you're not sure that is true. So as an individual and as a learned person that you are, how will you stop the spread of that news knowing that it might not be true? You get the point now.
I stop by not spreading it, okay? Making sure I reconfirm and double check to convince myself that this is real news before disseminating such.
Time is really not our friend. We'll be moving, leaving any moment from now. And I want to come back to what you said about the average Nigerian not really having time to research and double check, because we want to know now the way out of this fake news. What advice would you give to Nigerians? I know when we talk about fake news, it's just not in Nigeria, it's something that cuts across the whole world. But here, let's bring it back home. What advice would you give the average Nigerian who have no time to probably research and double check as regarding fake news?
Get into proper engagement. Government, like I said, should reprioritize, give more emphasis on ensuring that people go back to school so that there will be less illiterates in the society, jobless youths would be fully engaged. When they are fully engaged, they will not have time to propagate or even produce fake news.
Less illiterate people in the society. Most of the people who really propagate this fake news are literate people. They're people who are educated. Like when you get to see them, this is educated. And they're the ones who probably, like you said, the original creator of this.
Because they are not properly engaged. That's why they have the time to get into the negative vices. If they are properly engaged, because like I said, I'm not talking about illiterate youths. I'm talking about the literate youths who are jobless, okay? They invest their time, their precious time, into the production of this fake news. So they are elites, but it's just that they are jobless. So if government can or makes it mandatory for each and every literate citizen of this country gets engaged meaningfully, of course, it will eliminate to a reasonable extent the spread of fake news.
Before we go, does the media have any part to play in tackling this menace of fake news?
Naturally. If the part of the source of the spread of fake news is through the media houses, like where we are, like radio, print media, and of course the social media. Then of course these are the sources, and it's just for each medium to ensure that proper research is done. Investigative journalism is put together to ensure that whatever news you are putting out to the public is not fake, is real.
All right. Well, this is it, tackling menace of fake news, and I want to believe you really learned a whole lot from the veteran in the house who's actually told us what to do. Now, this is an assignment. I don't know if to call it an assignment or something we have to do as citizens. Of course, at this point in time is where this news will come from, either the social media, probably from the print media, from wherever. But the good thing and the right thing to do is that you have to research, double check, and be sure that what you're reading, what you're seeing is right and not fake. Probably before you can go tell Mr. B that, see, this happened, the other one happened.
Exactly. And those people that will stand at the newspaper stand, they will just read one story and change it all over and tell people there to believe whatever they want them to believe. This is for you. Make sure.
So another thing is even reading and understanding. That's another thing, because like she said, a whole lot of people probably could go to a newspaper stand and read "A Day is a Boy." And that's exactly what it means, but they come back to say, and you know, it looks as if it's a D.O.B. that is a boy. Right?
And people there will just believe. The gullible ones, the illiterate there, will just believe. All right, thank you so much, Professor Pascal Onyi Ogono, the former Dean of Law, Chukwemeka Odumegwu Jukwu University, for coming to Good Morning, Anambra.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you here. Well, this is it. This is exactly where we are drawing the curtains in today's edition of the program, Good Morning, Anambra. I am a Berry Ugonna.
And my name is Chidima Oranwa. Thank you so much for joining us today.
At 9 o'clock over time for the news on the hour. And of course, sports today will be coming your way at 15 minutes past 9. Don't go anywhere. All of this and more will be coming your way today. Many thanks for joining us.